Yeah, I'ma make this shit hot. Oh, I'ma light this shit up. Yeah, I'ma make this shit hot. Oh, I'ma light this shit up.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. If you're wondering why I'm being a bit more quiet than usual, it's because my mum and me are babysitting for my little cousin and it's currently 12:03. I cannot sleep, so I thought I might as well make some YouTube videos. I'll be honest, unlike before, it wasn't an effort to make YouTube videos. Like before, it was such a chore to make YouTube videos. Now I'm actually having fun with it. The first thing I think to do is, make YouTube videos. So yeah, that's basically what I've been doing. That's why my uploads all come. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the second upload of the day, because if I upload this tomorrow, then I just won't record tomorrow. Then I'll fall out of my mojo. So all videos I record, they all have to be uploaded that night. Other than that, I'm not going to drag out the intro. Last time I left off, Deku vs Todoroki. Deku won, but he was actually for the first time the most injured he'd ever been. As Todoroki realised his quirk was his own, he used different types of powers and slammed his fist right into Todoroki, and also figured out his blood can power people up and heal people when they digest his blood. But other than that, let's get straight into the video. We now go to Bakugo versus Deku. The match says begin. They just stand there talking to each other across the ring. Bakugo says, "Deku, this is my chance to show the world how much stronger I have become. To show you that I'm not like a villain. And to finally show the world..." One second guys, I need to correct my note. To finally show the world that I will be the #1 hero. Deku says, "Good for you, Bakugo. It's time for me to show that man that he needs to be afraid." This confuses Bakugo, but he ain't gonna ask questions. They say begin. Deku and Bakugo rush at each other, Bakugo using his explosions. He throws a punch, which seemed to be really obvious, and Deku dodges it, just to get a knee in the face. As he bounces back, he says, that was martial arts. Bakugo smiling with a big smile on his face says, "Yes, Deku, I decided to take a note out of your book and I started studying martial arts. Although I'm not as good as you are, I might not ever be. Still enough to put up a fight." Deku's hair for the first time at all in this tournament rises up, just like his father, Yujiro, does in the manga. And he yells, "Bakugo Katsuki," or "Katsuki Bakugo. This fight, I'll be honest, I was not going to go serious. But now that you're a martial artist, I'll fight you with honour, using my full strength." The veins on Deku's arm bulge up, his chest bulge. His muscles seem to get bigger. And he puts his hands to his side. His half demon back forms. That's when I say where Deku has full control of his demon back, half of it forms. And he lunges at Bakugo at full speed. This catches Bakugo off guard and he gets choke slammed. But this ain't enough. He knows his explosions don't hurt Deku, but they do have a force to push him away. And as such, he pushes them back flying. Using his entire back to cause an explosion, he sends himself like a speeding bullet at Deku. Using that speed and doubling it with another explosion to throw a powerful punch that Deku blocks, but he can feel a fracture in his arm. He bounces back as it heals. And he goes, That was judo. I'm not talking the truth, I'm taking guess. That was judo, using your whole body as an overweight. And I don't know what the one is with the fight with swords. And you turned your arm into a sword. Impressive. As he says this, he jumps in the air and Bakugo goes, "What's he gonna do there?" All of a sudden, as if he got pushed, Deku flicks his foot, kicking Bakugo dead on in the nose. For such what seemed to be a flick of a kick, it had a lot of power behind it. Like, the arena behind Bakugo cracked. And he just saw like 7 Dekus as his vision started spinning. No, he said. And he launched an explosion at the back of his head, shaking his brain about, but in a good way. And he headbutts Deku. This caught Deku off guard. Blood squirts out of his nose, and he actually falls back holding his nose saying, "Oh, you bastard." Deku, after this happens, smiles and says, "You have grown, Bakugo. Looks like I can use my actual power." He pulls his hands up to the side, and his body starts to radiate electricity. But it quickly subsides. That's when Bakugo sees it. Though his body isn't radiating electricity, if you look deep and very closely, you can see that electricity is coursing through his veins. And this is basically his Hanma blood getting electrified, getting stronger, moving quicker. Deku realised that there's no point of using the quirks he learns to use. He just needs to learn to strengthen his own, and he'll win no matter what. That is the strength of Hanma. No matter what the challenge they face, so long as they push their power to its limits, they can never lose. Unless it's against another Hanma. Deku, without a single sound, as if he was weightless, appeared behind Bakugo, and with his knuckle pointed out, not knuckle, he had his fist, but he dented in his finger a bit to make it more jagged, and he jabbed Bakugo's spine. Bakugo felt it pop, and his legs went numb. He falls down to the ground, and he goes, "Deku, what did you do? I can't feel below my waist." Deku says, "I just popped out your spine, what are you gonna do?" Bakugo said, I can't feel below my waist doesn't mean I can't feel above my waist." And he grabs his back and there's an explosion through it. The shockwave is enough to relocate his spine, although he was left with a burn. Deku laughs and says, "Yes, Bakugo, that's what I've been wanting to see. Dedication, hard work. As you can see, if you put all that in, you become unstoppable." Bakugo smirks and she sends a kick flying towards Deku that Deku blocks. And he says, "I understand it now, Deku. All the hard work you spoke about before, I didn't understand it before. But after doing it myself, I can see the results myself. I understand how strong you are and how you became so strong. And the hellish training you must have gone through to get it. But now that I know that, don't think that I'm not going to catch up anytime soon. I mean, don't think you're going to be ahead for long." Hearing this, Deku laughs and he snaps with a punch. Bakugo wasn't expecting the insane power boost that came with it, and he gets sent flying back, barely keeping himself in the arena, and his arms were shaking. He could feel the bone in his right arm was shattered, and it drops to his side. "Damn it, I thought I'd be able to keep this going for longer." Deku lunges forward, and Bakugo throws a left, and Deku thought he has nothing else to swing with until he gets hit by Bakugo's right. He thinks, how? His arm's shattered. And then he realises Bakugo, even with his shattered arm, he fought through the pain, using explosion to send his fist round. He realises that he keeps this going, Bakugo's going to get permanent damage. Deku says, "As I said, I'll fight with my full strength." His joints start moving about his body. He enters his fighting mode, like we see Pickle do in the manga. And you can just hear crack, crack, pop, pop. Deku's went from being roughly 6 foot to 7 foot, maybe even 8 foot. His muscle mass seems to be tripled. And he towers above Bakugo. And he says, in one punch I'll end it." Hearing this, Bakugo agrees. He gets his left hand, and Deku sees it starts glowing orange. Bakugo's compacting explosions in his hand. And he yells, "Deku, it's time to end this now." He chucks the punch towards Bakugo, and Deku realises in his head, why am I just relying on power? I promised him as a martial artist that I will fight him as one. As such he does. Deku, using his god reversal, swerves Bakugo's hand, making the explosion hit the ground, and it's all going to shockwave to go back at him. And now, using the force that he gained from reflecting, he lunges forward, not swinging his arm, just leaning, and he hits Bakugo directly on his chest, and he gets sent flying backwards. Bakugo was announced to be out, and Deku was the final winner. But as everyone checks on Bakugo, they say he doesn't have a pulse. Deku isn't too alarmed, and he starts beginning to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As he hits 10, a pulse comes back. But Bakugo's still unconscious. Deku said it was part of the technique. I sent the shockwaves to his heart, and his heart just needed time to recalibrate itself. After hearing this, everyone took a deep breath. They thought Bakugo just died, but thankfully he didn't. That's when the UA alarms go off, and they get announced of an intruder. attacking the hero from the Ida family. I don't remember his name, not gonna lie. Not Ida, from the Tenya family. Hearing this, Deku activating his instincts, searches, and finally he finds him. He's searching, he's fighting Ida's older brother, and there's a lot of blood. Deku disappears in a flash, alerting them of their location, and he appears there just in time to break one of Stain's swords before it impales Ida's older brother's back. This stopped the fatal injury of making Ida's older brother not being able to walk. After breaking this, Deku looks at Stain with all his bloodlust, and seeing this, Stain actually shivers a bit and goes, "What type of hero student are you? You have the look of a villain. But I can sense your will. You also have the will of a hero. Interesting. Maybe you really will be the next All Might." He swings his blade at Deku, and Deku ducks beneath it. And using a new martial art technique he's wanted to try, he catches Stain's arm, and he jabs one point of it, the entire goes numb. And he drops his blade. He then enters a weird stance, and using his imagination, he portrays a picture of what was something never seen before. It had a long tail, it had a body, but before his head could be visualized, Stain ran away. And Ida shows up to see his brother laying there. He breaks down, but Deku slaps him in the face and says, "Wake up, we need to get him to a hospital, you can cry afterwards." And they both pick him up and they sprint to a hospital, and Deku and they end up had to take him off Ida, as Ida couldn't stop crying and he ran at full speed. After getting the news that his older brother would be fine, and even the news that if Deku probably didn't step in, Ida's older brother wouldn't have been able to walk, he immediately starts apologising to Deku, saying, I'm sorry for what I said. And he starts thanking him. As Ida's older brother told him, "Actually, guys, ASMR," how Deku stopped the blow just before his spine. We now go to the apprenticeship, and Deku didn't do an apprenticeship. He went into contact with All Might and some of the other hero authorities and said he wanted to become a hero. And the reason why they said, "Why should we make you a hero?" he just replied saying, "If you don't make me a hero, I'm going to become a vigilante," and said it with a blank face. And I said, "I'm pretty sure after you watch that tournament, I'm stronger than a lot of heroes. So if they try to stop me, there's going to be a lot of heroes getting hurt. So you might as well just make me a hero." Hearing this, no one can deny Deku's logic, and with Nezu's support, he gets announced as a hero, officially. And he gives his hero name as Baki. Bakihanma. Yes, I had to do it, guys. I'm sorry. Ta-da! He wants to hear my Mr. Bean impression. Ta-da, where are you? Don't know how I wanted to do it. It just popped in my head. But yes, guys, Deku gets announced as a hero, and that's what he's doing in the apprenticeship week. He's going around stopping villains and raising his rank. He went from the bottom of the list to in the top 100 in 4 days. That's how many villains he's took out. And their crime rate just because of him went from 10% to 8%. Shigaraki's pissed by this, and as such, they plan an attack. Deku is patrolling one day until he looks at his phone and he gets a notification from Ida showing his location. And he rushes over there as he has a gut feeling something's going wrong. And as soon as he gets in the radius, he can sense Stain in Ida and Ida's fear. And of course, he can smell a lot of blood. He's on the roof and he sees that Stain's about to cut Ida's head off. And he dives down, smacking Stain in the back of the head, like punching him. Stain for the first time has felt a vibration all over his body like it was about to drop, and he jumps back and he says, "I haven't been hit like that in years. Who did?" "Oh, it's you." I'm sorry guys, I have a really sore throat. Red Fanta. He says, "Oh, it's you, the boy from before. Someone who has a possibility to be a true hero." He stands in front of Ida and he yells, "You're not getting past me, Stain." He tells Ida to run. And he just says, no, you can't fight against him, we'll be killed. And Deku wanted to sound cool, says, it doesn't matter, unless you haven't seen the news lately, I'm an official hero now, you have to listen. Run, it doesn't matter if I get killed, it's all part of the job. At least someone gets protected. And this Stain smiles and he says, you really are a true hero. Nunja like Deku using a technique Deku's never seen before. He's bouncing off walls while his body's spinning with his swords in his hand. He slices at Deku and Deku thought he dodged, but it was almost like Stain's blade was longer than it really was, and he cut Deku. Stain then licks his blood. All of a sudden, Stain feels power roar through his body, but at the same time, an insane pain in his chest. He drops backwards, he's holding his chest. What is this? Blood pours out of Stain's mouth, his ears, his nose. It's like, this blood is rejecting me. He attempts to control Deku, but he just gets paralysed himself. And Deku realising this was he didn't want Stain to have his blood. And mixed with the ability of one for all not being able to pass on without permission, if Stain tried taking Deku's blood and drinking it and gaining power, it would get the opposite effect. Stain immediately starts losing muscle mass as he shrivels up and becomes skinny. And Deku apologising, saying he's too much of a risk to keep alive. And Stain smiles, saying, at least I'm going to die by the hands of a true hero. Deku dives towards him with his hand straight out, almost like started with his imagination looking like a blade, and he dove it towards Stain's chest, just to see flame coming from behind him. He grabs Stain and jump, it's Endeavour. And he screams, you flamey bastard, that attack was meant to hit me as well, weren't it? And he boots Stain to the side, and he rushes down at Endeavour and boots him in the nose. Deku's had enough of this stuck-up prick. And Endeavour in the public saying, look at him, he's attacking me. Until one of the citizens go, you shot fire into that alleyway and I saw him jump out of the way, you attacked him first. Hearing this, Endeavour goes to attack him. Deku says, no you fucking don't, and he punches him in the chin. And he starts beating the hell out of Endeavour. Endeavour goes to chuck flame that were going to hit citizens, but all of a sudden ice encases Endeavour's arm. Todoroki's there. He got Ida's notification as well. And Deku said he's had enough. He punches Endeavour's arm. You can literally hear a snap. And the same way he was in attack Stain, he goes towards Endeavour's stomach, and his hand partly impels him until he hears an explosion. If you look at your finger, you see that first line on your middle finger. That's how deep Deku got. And he says, you're lucky. And he rips out his finger and he looks around to see that and some similar Nomi creature flying. He jumps up, not risking anyone's safety, and destroys the brain straight away. He yells at them, the brain's the weakness, go for that, don't waste time. And he starts bouncing about. Shigaraki in the background watching this happen is enraged. It took so much effort before to destroy one Nomi, he just destroyed that one effortlessly. Well, it was just a flyer, it weren't meant to be strong. Now Nomi, who was, I'd say, roughly about 10 times stronger than the one at the training facility, I forgot what it's called, appeared and threw a punch at Deku. Deku blocked the punch with ease and ducked down and kicked. This absolutely decapitated the Nomu. And he shot it into a streetlight, making an electricity throughout the brain. And he says, I've had enough of this. He looks at Stain, who's nearly dead, and he gives his blood his permission. Stain regains all his muscle mass, even stronger than before, and shoots up. But he's still under Deku's control, due to his own quirk acting against him. He says, Stain, I'll give you a chance, you can go free. But you have to help us take down the villains. Hearing this, Stain says, you're going to let me go? And he says, yeah. But next time we meet, it'll be a fight to the death. Hearing this, Stain smiles and says, fairs, but there's a condition on me, and he also said there's a condition on you being free. You have to be a hero, you have to be a villain killer for a little while, not a hero killer. Hearing this, Stain thinks about it and agrees, as no matter how much he hates the heroes, villains launching large-scale attacks like this, he cannot agree with them. And he begins taking down Nomu as well. Deku's absolutely blitzing through the Nomu, so is Endeavour. But he's still trying to throw small attacks at Deku, and Deku loses it. He dives down and punches Endeavour so hard that his neck actually fractures and he gets paralysed. He falls downwards. And Deku, who's now lost it, is on top of him, stamping, throwing punches. He even pops one of Endeavor's shoulders out of its socket and then pulls to the point it's nearly ripped off. And then stamps on one of his legs, breaking it. And then he says, "I'm going to finish the job, you bastard." He lifts his hand up until he hears more people scream. He's like, "You always get saved by the citizens." Endeavor laid there thinking, why am I attacking a student? How far have I fallen? I'm meant to be the number 2 hero. Yes, it's not number 1, but what am I doing? I'm going to apologise to him after this. Deku finishes up the last of the Nomu, and he sees Shigaraki running away. Shigaraki was only there because he thought, this will cause enough destruction for me to kill that brat and show Master that I'm the truly worthy one. Deku runs at him and punches his chest, landing in front of him. He breaks about 4 Shigaraki's ribs, and he uppercuts him, breaking his jaw. He attempts to go for the final blow, piercing his chest, but Shigaraki goes to the side, and an entire chunk of his stomach gets ripped out by Deku, and he falls backwards into Kurogiri's portal. And Deku says, "Damn it, that bastard got away again." But if you want to find out what happens next time, it is gonna be that we're gonna go fight All Might. Then comment down below, subscribe, and peace out, guys. Bye.